Hello Ride-On people. I've received a lot of nice compliments on the aesthetic changes I've made to my Ducati, so I thought I'd make a video to quickly run through them all, and then anyone thinking of making similar changes to their machine will have an idea of suppliers and costs. So let's start with the most affordable, moving towards the most costly. The bolts securing the OEM standard mirrors hold more than just the mirrors themselves to the handlebars. So when you remove them, the standard bolts are then too long. So I replaced them with a couple of black bolts from a company called Ixtema. I bought them on Amazon by just searching mirror blank screws. It's important to buy a kit because one of the bolts will be an anti or reverse thread on a Ducati. The ones I bought were M8 x 1.25 and they cost $13. A Ducati Corsa rubber key fob. Corsa is Italian for racing and its livery reflects that. It looks cool, and the rubber fob sits in the tank ignition key recess while riding, and being rubberized it will not scratch the Ferrari-like glossy red paint of the tank. This was an Amazon purchase from a company called Seacoast, and it cost a slightly salty $15. The carbon fibre wrap has offered the most bangs for the bucks. I wrapped the 4 biplane wings, the kick plates, bar ends and tail unit trunk cover. The wrap is applied dry, with some stretching possible via gently heating with a hairdryer. Applying it can require a little patience and a steady hand with a sharp knife. It is made by 3M and I ordered it in 6-inch width times 5 foot length. I ordered 2 from Amazon for a total cost of $23. Unless your lady is a cage fighter who loves to do handstands on roller coasters, you're not going to find anyone this side of Harley Quinn who is criminally insane enough to want to ride bitch on this face slap. So to lose weight and add sex appeal, it's a no-brainer to unbolt the pillion pegs and retire them to bubble wrap. But that then leaves 4 exposed holes in the under tray area, going to fill up with dirt and grime over time. So I bought some block-off caps by CNC Racing from Bellissimoto. For some bizarrely funny reason they are only sold in pairs, and you'll need 2 pairs. So I have had to buy 2 packs, and in total they are a laughable $65 for 4 very short red bolts that nobody will ever see. In hindsight, I'd be tempted to measure the thickness of the foot peg hanger and subtract that from the bolt length, then just go to your local hardware store and ask for 4 stainless steel bolts of the same thread and subtracted length. I'm not a fan of tank protectors. I prefer the look of the beautiful standard paintwork on any machine, but there's no doubt that they do serve a purpose. If your jacket touches the tank, then sooner or later it will scratch. You can always wait until it does, and then you'll know the very best place to position your protector, or you could just go for it from the get-go, which is what I did. I bought mine on Amazon. It is a Ducati official part, which is one reason it is a little pricey at $70. It didn't come with any instructions, and each carbon sticker are totally separate of each other. I applied each totally by eye, and I'm pleased with the outcome and overall look. However, if you search on YouTube, there is a specific way in which to apply them in a single application. The standard handlebars are 6 inches higher than the Panigale V4S, but they are still pretty low. My wrists are full of titanium Meccano, and although I can adjust to them, I still felt they were a tad low. Initially I tried to obtain some 1 3/4 inch low pro risers, but they were sold out everywhere. So I ordered some regular 2-inch risers, but immediately realised the problem. The stock bar clamps sit at an offset angle, and for further hilarity, the clamps themselves are also cut on a slant. So I quickly realised that only pivot risers would fit, because they use the OEM clamps without any riser insert. I returned my order and bought the Rox pivot risers with a 2-inch rise for 1 1/8 bars for $90. The available spare cable length is very tight, particularly the clutch, so I wasn't sure the 2-inch risers would fit, but thankfully there were no problems fitting them, although I wouldn't advise going any higher just to be sure they'll fit. I've always disliked having to open a gas cap with a key. I don't fear fuel theft or contamination, so it seems a chore. Many of the bikes I owned when I lived in England, I fitted quick release filler caps to, and I got on well with them. I wasn't a fan of the standard silver finish cap, with the bars and ancillaries all being blacked out as standard. But TWM from Motormillion offer a beautifully machined quick action cap in a black anodized finish. The unscrewing mechanism can be ordered in a choice of colours, and I chose red to complement the bodywork. It's probably the most favourably commented on part fitted to my bike and cost a very reasonable $110 given its nice build quality. One of the best ways to improve the look of any sporty bike is to remove the huge plastic tag plate protrusion. It's a regulatory thing, more akin to the car world, where the bodywork of the vehicle must exceed that of the rear wheel. And it's one reason bikes like the Diavel and GS have a plastic arm running from the rear spindle to the rear of the bike. Most people think it's just a clever mudguard, but it's more to do with the manufacturing rules and regs than anything else. Evotech are a big name in tidying up unsightly rear ends, and through the company motivation I secured one for $225. I'd never fitted one before, but I took my time and it's well made, so it all went together without too much work. It's a big improvement visually and was money well spent. The standard mirrors have to be adjusted at the clamp rather than internally if you want to get a clear picture of behind. I've seen far uglier stock mirrors before, but to me, on a Supermoto or Streetfighter, they still look out of place. I came across some really innovative mirrors on Revzilla made by a company called Motor Gadget. The very unique thing about them is they are totally glassless. The mirror-like finish is highly polished metal, and it is so reflective it is totally indistinguishable from that of a mirror. It has three main advantages. It cannot crack, it has an attractive super thin width, and they don't need taping up for a track day. The black finish is beautifully machined, and they create a lot of interest and compliments wherever I stop. One of the most obvious changes to the bike is to replace the rear seat with the official Ducati solo seat cover. It gives the V4S a proper race bike look with the beautiful flowing lines of the Stingray-like tail, and it accentuates the see-through tunnels in a GT40 style that, coupled with the long thin LEDs, just looks cool as when riding down the road. It requires some consideration when getting on and off the bike because it could become a heel kick magnet. You just have to be conscientious. The seat cover was a slightly eye-raising $393 through an Amazon purchase. However, I've seen it advertised for nearer $450, so it wasn't quite as shocking as it might have been, and really finishes off the bike. Long term, I may fit an N-can and eventually maybe even BST carbon fibre wheels. Probably the can more than the wheels, as it already has Marcassini forged wheels, which are much lighter than the standard V4 model. But I have no short-term plans to make any further changes for now. I'm very content with the way the bike looks and rides. I've spent about $1,250 on accessories, but I think compared with how the stock bike looks, it has been money very well spent. It has also lowered the weight of the V4S to around 385 pounds, which coupled with over 200 horsepower just feels incredible. The bike out the door with all of its accessories fitted and taxes paid is close to 27k. It should be something really special for that kind of money, and hand on heart, I think it genuinely is. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel and following me on my adventures and updates on my BMW and Ducati motorcycles. Hey you, if you want to become one of the Ride On people, don't forget to subscribe. Ride often, ride carefully, ride on.